This video is for Artifact 12, Standard 7.2, ISTE Criterion 24, use assessment data to inform and guide instruction based on individual student needs. For this standard, I use technology-based formative and summative assessments that I designed, implemented, and analyzed for my 6th grade math students to guide and individualize instructional planning. I designed and implemented formative and summative assessments for our 6th grade statistics unit centered around analyzing data for measures of center and spread, as well as analyzing appropriate data displays. Students learned about the measures of center and spread, as well as the measures of variation in data displays. In terms of formative assessments, some of the formative assessments that I utilized were Quizzes, Bookit, and Google Forms. All of these digital platforms provided me as well as my students with real-time data, which helped determine students who are in different mastery bands, such as proficient, scoring a 70% or higher, and developing, which would be a 55 to 69% accuracy, as well as students who are still struggling overall with the content. I can analyze the data by question and student to determine necessary small group topics, students to bring into small group, adjustments to future lessons, and standards that need to be retaught. It just truly helps me determine how I will move forward in my lesson. So you can see for quizzes, it gives overall accuracy for the class. It also breaks down the students and their individual accuracy, especially because with game-based digital tools, the score can be affected by the gaming aspect of it. So it's really important to see their accuracy as well as where they stand in terms of finishing. Google Forms even breaks the data down and provides meaningful information about the class average, median score, and range, so I can better understand the class as a whole and how individual student scores relate to the class data. This helps me determine if a small group is needed or just a reteaching, if just a small group is needed or a reteaching for the entire class. In the recent summative assessment on statistics, it became apparent that many of my students had misconceptions regarding graph analysis and inference making, particularly highlighted by their struggles with question 18. Some students faced challenges when tasked with drawing inferences from the data, leading to errors in their responses. Additionally, there were instances where students failed to correctly match data points with the corresponding graphs. Moving forward, I recognize the necessity of integrating more interactive assignments that provide students an opportunity to manipulate information. I also want to include opportunities for students to analyze information. So, a couple changes that I will make to this unit for future teaching, as well as the other units that I continue to teach, is to include more interactive lessons on iReady. These lessons really do help guide students through the entire lesson, and it provides them with another opportunity for achieving mastery outside of my typical lesson. I also want to include more interactive Google Slides that allow students the ability to manipulate items and create their own problems to ensure that they understand. Lastly, I want to include more assignments that require students to analyze and make inferences based on the data given. So instead of just regurgitating information, they're really having to grapple with the information presented and create their own inferences. This video is for Artifact 12, Standard 7.3, ISTE Criterion 25, provide opportunities for students to reflect on their own learning data. For this standard, I considered how I empowered students to reflect on their own learning throughout the statistics unit that I taught in my 6th grade math class. I really wanted to make sure I was providing opportunities for them to reflect on their own learning data using different digital tools. One of the ways that I empowered my learners by allowing them to reflect on their thinking and their learning process was by utilizing different digital formative assessment platforms such as quizzes. So you can see that when students look at their quizzes scores at the end, it really helps them reflect on their current progress. It tells them how many they have correct, how many they got incorrect. It also gives them a detailed review of each question, the answer that they put, and if that was correct or incorrect. And if it was incorrect, it lets them know what the correct answer was. One feature that I love about quizzes is not only does it allow students to access and understand their data, but there's also a feature where we can email that data out to parents and other relevant stakeholders to ensure that they are aware of how their students are progressing along in that unit. Another way that I allow students the opportunity to look over their data and reflect is through quick checks that I use on Google Forms. So, one thing that I love is when a student submits it, they're able to view their score. So, they're able to see a total score. They're also able to see that detailed analysis of each question to see what they answered, if it was correct or incorrect, and what the correct answer was, which just provides them with that immediate feedback that they can use to truly reflect on their progress. This is also something that can be emailed to parents or other relevant stakeholders to help them stay in touch with their students' progress. In terms of formative assessments that are in our assessment platform as a county or summative assessments, one thing that I really do enjoy is that it also provides a detailed breakdown of how the student performed on each question. It allows them to see overall the questions that they got correct and the questions that they missed. It also provides them with the correct answer so that they can take the time to reflect. Having the correct answer really helps students see, oh, okay, how can I compare what I put to what the correct answer actually is? I love that our county also has the parent portal and student portal to provide students and parents with a space to go and check grades, which I ensure to update timely to ensure that they are accurate. In terms of goals and reflections, my students create and start at the beginning of the year um, math data and goal sheets that they reflect on throughout the entire school year. To show, the goal is to show continuous improvement. So you can look at some examples where students have filled in how they did on each assessment and they did a reflection on how did I prepare for that? Is there something I need to do differently? Is tutoring necessary? And how am I working towards my overall goal that I'm trying to have of my grade by the end of the semester? All of this just helps empower my learners, ensure that they are an active part of their learning process.